Hi, it's Anne. Thanks for stopping by. So today we're going to be working on a whole category of junk journal elements that I not terribly creatively refer to as small tuck-ins. I'm finding myself in need of some of these, and they're super useful. So I thought we would just make some together. It seems that most of the journal tags that we do on YouTube are a little bit more of this larger size. I love this size. I use it a lot, but many, if you're gonna choose a standard size that many of us make for our junk journals, it's the one that the cover measures about 6 by 9, and so a larger size tag works really well. However, what if we're making a smaller journal? Like this is one that I made out of a pasta box last year. I love this little journal. I haven't used it for anything, but I sit around and pet it a lot. It's one of my favorites. This is smaller, so the proportions need to be a little bit different for the things that we tuck into it. But even in a larger journal, this has, the larger pieces. But, here I've got this little sack that I have in the center of a signature, and it has room for little pockets, but it just needs these little small things to tuck in. Small journal cards. You can make them tag shape if you like, but the key is that they're small. And so the approach to their design is a lot different. They have a little bit less on them. There's less room to write. I'm a writer, so I love writing big things, but it's super useful to have small things to tuck into a journal where you just want to write a few words. You just want to write, gee, the sunset was so beautiful today. I just, the sky was just painted pink and orange. You can write just a few words about that. Just a little something to keep. And I love the idea of torn edges on these small pieces to tuck in because they kind of look like, like you just ripped off a piece of scrap paper from somewhere just to write a little note to yourself. So small tuck-ins, things to kind of tuck into a journal, that's what we're going to be working on today. And these little small tuck-ins, they can go into a bigger pocket too. They don't take up a lot of room. They're usually nice and flat. So there are always ways that you can, add a few extra, a few little extra things to a journal display. I'll show you the one I had in here that I wanted to show you. This was just sort of a rough torn pocket on this small page, and just a couple of little things. Not room to write very much, but you don't always need the big, long, extensive journaling space. I love journaling space, but sometimes we just want to add a little postscript to things. Anyway, we are going to be mass making some of these. Let me set these journals aside and get a sip of coffee in my Scrabble cup. I don't want to spill this, but this is how we're going to mass make these. We are going to start by using an old book page. And I'm lucky I have some old novel that just beautifully aged. I didn't need to do any coffee dyeing to this or anything. And when I'm mass making these small tuck-ins, it's very handy just to go to the same book and find one page that's blank on one side if you can. You can use other paper too, but it's just efficient to take them all from the same book if you're that lucky. And then I'm just going to use one, make certain that this is facing down because that's going to be our writing surface. And then one for the middle, because we're going to sandwich one in the middle, and then one for the top. So let's just go ahead. We're going to work through the whole process, start to finish. I always save the fly leaves, those blank pages, especially from old books, because the older books, the quality of their paper often, even just the what would have been inexpensive novels at the time, the quality of their paper is just a lot different. You don't necessarily find rag paper or anything quite that lovely. But there's a little bit more of a thickness to it, and it just tears beautifully. And again, I love the look of torn paper. We have our little sandwich filling in place there. Now I'm gonna put glue down on the top of it. And that's gonna be our top layer. Because when we do these torn edges and you have 3 layers glued together, it just tends to have a really nice, thick, it gives you a nice visual effect where you have those uneven edges. Even here where we've stacked them and they don't line up perfectly, leave that. That gives the kind of look that we want. All right, then the next thing that I like to do, this will surprise you, not at all. I'm gonna pull out the gesso, and here's my little gesso card. And I'm gonna put just a little spritz of gesso. You don't have to use this size. This is a very handy size to make 4 of these little tuck-ins. But if you wanted to really mass make, you could use the big old books too. So let's get just a little squirt of gesso. And I'm just gonna spread it with a card here. And I'm not gonna worry about getting all the way to the edge. I'm not gonna worry about making it even. I'm just gonna set this aside to dry. And I still have some on my card, so I don't want to let that go to waste. I'm just going to put it on this scrap that's over here. It doesn't have to get over the whole thing. There we go. I'll use that later for something else. Okay, now with this piece that we just did, before I actually go on to the next step, I want to make certain that it's completely dried, both the glue and the gesso. So I did one ahead of time because I didn't want to wait. I mean, we could sit here and drink coffee, and that'd be fun. But I want to make better use of your time. Here is that same sort of little sandwich. I did this last night. It doesn't need to dry overnight, but then we're going to put sort of a light stencil background. You can do, I have also done, smeared paint, done, diluted inks on it just to kind of create an interesting background. But again, I want to go for speed and efficiency this time. So I pulled out, I haven't used this stencil yet, but it looks like bricks. So I think I'm going to use this. Where was that current catalog? And I'm just going to do a little bit of blending. Let's see, I think I have a aged mahogany. I know I have, it's right here. And this gives us sort of a brick-like color, as close to a brick-like color as I happen to have, anyway. And then this is going to give us a nice background to make some of our small tuck-ins. Yeah, I've been calling them small tuck-ins for years. They're, there's usually not a big plan around them. They're nice for that little, like I think I said a moment ago, a postscript. I mean, maybe you have a tag in that pocket that, was all about, the Christmas party that you went to, but you have one just little aside, one little parenthetical that you'd like to add, oh, this party, was so much fun, and, we did this and we did that, but you want to have a little postscript that says, and Teresa had on the most fabulous dress. Or why did I eat 12 of those scallops and bacon? I don't know. They're nice for just when you want to write just a little bit. And also the smaller journaling spaces, they really have their space, you know. I think sometimes small journaling spaces, particularly if you're not used to writing in a journal or journaling in general, the smaller tags and journaling spots, they're just a lot less intimidating. You know, you can write just a little bit about your day and the date and you're fine. Okay, big reveal. There's our brick wall. This came out exactly like I hoped it would. Isn't that nice? Now, here's what we're going to do next. And here is the benefit, I think, of using this particular process. It is virtually waste-free. We are going to use every scrap of this 3-layer book page, margins and all. And here's what else we're going to do. We're going to be cleaning up my desk. And if you do it, you'll be cleaning up your desk. I have so many of these like little boxes that I throw stuff into after I finish a project. I mean, seriously, you know, there's this one. There's this one. I've got a couple more over here. I think I have showed these to you before. I need a serious cleanup, but I'm kind of going to get into it by using up things in just one of these. I won't use this whole box today, but I'll make a dent into it, and I'll probably do more of these as the day goes on and use more and more. This is just a little box of oddments, and I did a little bit of sorting before I started this project, mainly just to take things out. I didn't put anything into the box. I did take a few things out that you know, I didn't want to use. They were too thick, or they were too big, or they were jingly, because I want to keep things nice and flat for this project. Anyway, this is going to help me clean up some of these, you know, bits and bobs. And I don't know. I was thinking about just using family traditions there. I'll set that aside. I might definitely use that. Anyway, this is what we're going to decorate with, but we want to keep our decorations fairly simple. And speaking of simple, all we're going to do is tear roughly down the middle. And you can see I'm not getting a perfectly straight line. I'm going for being kind of straight, but the paper and the fibers there are going to tell us what they want to do. And look at this beautiful, it's almost like a little waterfall effect there. You only have when you tear paper, the paper that stays behind is the one that gets this interesting edge. You get the opposite on this side. I'm just going to leave it that way. I could if I wanted this waterfall edge on this front side, I could re-tear it. But I kind of like having it on the back where I'm going to be writing here. So anyway, we're just going to take the tears where they come, and I'm going to do this together. So I'm getting some separation of those layers, and that's exactly what I want. Oh, and once we get our distressing done, these are really going to pop out. I'm going to go ahead and do the distressing now. You might even have a little bit of flaking off the edge. But don't these have an idea of, you know, oh, you had some important note you wanted to write to yourself, and you just grabbed a piece of scratch paper and ripped it off the edge of something else. Don't they have that kind of ethos? I think they do. And that, I think, gets to the heart of junk journaling. You know, something that was otherwise going to be thrown away, that was otherwise junk. But boy, it has a little bit of utility left, and we can jazz it up and make it look interesting and intriguing, like it's been around, it has some history. We could leave these exactly like they are. Oh, I love that on the back. And yeah, even as I'm distressing it, it's crackling a little bit more. But that's all a factor of this particular book page. Yours may have different properties, and yours is going to be all its own. just like people. Every bit of paper has its own unique strength, its own unique weakness, its own unique personality, and everything has usefulness. Everything has worth. Okay, gonna set this aside. Now let's get into my little bits and bobs box. And what do we want to decorate? I love the phrase bits and bobs, by the way. For our British friends that have originated that, thank you. I think it's brilliant. It's a brilliant phrase. Now, here's my glue, and here's a little glue stick, and my current catalog I'm gonna put over here. I don't want to over decorate these things. Again, it's a matter of proportions. If these are tucked into a small pocket on a small journal, you know, you don't want something that's just heavy with decoration. So let's just see what's in this box. Everything's gonna be really different and not on a theme. I do like these leaves on that brick wall. Let's just dig down in here. Shall we see what's, here's another little piece of book page. What else is in here? I could spend all day. The Earth Laughs and Flowers. I want to save that for something floral. There's some scissors. That's not quite right. So I hope my strategy is not going awry here with this bits and bobs box, but again, trying not to overthink it. Oh, here's another flower that would go nice with those leaves, and maybe I could go back to that little quote. There we go. Take this out, and yeah, that's cute. And I think my glue stick will work okay for this. I have been getting this current catalog. I think they send me one like every week, I swear. And I do order occasionally from Current for the nonprofit that I work with. That's where I get like our, you know, because everybody gets a birthday card, and we have 200 members, so 200 birthday cards a year. That's a lot for, probably a little more than I can keep up with for making cards. So I order them from Current. And boy, they reward me with lots of catalogs. You know, I order online. They could save themselves the paper, I'm afraid. But Current has been around a long time. Is that gonna... There we go. And then we'll put this little quote. I have no idea where that came from. Looks like I cut it off of something, and it went in the bits and bobs box. There. That's cute. I used up a few little things in that box, and I have a cute little tuck-in. Let's do more, okay? What else do I have in here? This I cut out of a cookbook. I like this a lot. I want to put it against one of the less torn edges. Yeah, this is going to be, that's going to be all I need for this one. This has been kicking around for a while. Oh, yeah. That does not need anything else on it. And I think I'm just going to leave that little extended part over there. Doesn't that look sweet? Oh, I love it. What else do we have? This is another one where I could probably get by just having this one piece. 3 cats singing. Everybody knew the words. Now the big question, and these are some stickers I got off Amazon some time ago. Oh, they're like vellum stickers. I've never had any of these before, so. Just one, I think, is gonna do it. Here we go. Look at those cats. I'm sure that's only root beer in their bottles. I'm sure they're not indulging in any adult cat beverages. Now, I want to show you part of the versatility of these little things. If you have a few that you leave undecorated in your stash, you might be in a situation where you just need something narrow, where even this, that's about 2.5, a little less than 4, this might even be too big. Because you have some torn edges already, guess what? You can knock it down to size. You've got the base anyway. You're just going to re-distress that edge, and you've got this wonderful little piece. And what are we going to put on there? Do we want to, oh, I forgot I had these in here. These are little margins. That one, yeah, I'm going to toss that. My sewing machine bunched up. These are just like little pieces of margins that I had that I put some machine stitching on. Yeah, I kind of like this one with the red. These are handy to have around, but they definitely fall into the bits and bobs box. So why don't I put that in there? And part of an old label. I don't know why I kind of liked that. Looks kind of industrial, and this kind of looks like a I'm gonna just take a part of it. Yeah, this was not a this was not a craft supply. This was off of some old appliance or something that we had. Dan is wonderful about when he's cleaning in the garage. He will often run across, you know, an old box of nails or something like that, and he'll always save the packaging for me. And he'll be so proud of himself. Oh, honey, look what I found. And I always accept them graciously. I usually tie off my threads so they don't come out, but this is going to be glued down. Now I need some sort of little focal point. Maybe it's, is it that? No, I don't think it is. I kind of am liking this one a little bit better. I am now very much in the throes of overthinking, but that's just kind of what I feel like doing today. There we go. And what's in here? Maybe an orange. Oh, what the heck. This orange, it has a little bit of a shadow on it, but that looks a little strange. This is out of a cookbook that had a bunch of fun illustrations, which is why I got it from the thrift store. There, yeah, 3 items, 3 items is plenty. You could use a scrap of napkin. This would be a great way to use up, if you have just some of those tiny little bits of napkins that you can't bear to throw out. This is coming up here a little bit, but we're just going to get that right down here. So there, in just a few minutes, look at these little tuck-ins that I have. I used up some stuff that was sitting around. I'm going to keep on using this stuff. And look how sweet. How sweet will this be tucked into a journal and super useful. Let's set this aside, and I want to show you another way that you can, where did I have? Yeah. Sometimes in your old books, I talked about saving the fly leaf, which is, in the front or in the back, with lots of blank paper. You will also find at the ends of chapters in novels, you'll have a partially blank page. So we can use this as a backing too, and just make 2 this time. So I'm going to fold this in half, and that sandwich filling is going to be the other side here. Boy, I go through a lot of glue. There we go. All right, so I can get 2 this way. And I'll put this one here, and I'll just sort of tear this. This is that little partial page that I did earlier. And this gesso has dried enough now that I can paste that down without smearing myself too much. Not that that's ever stopped me before. So here's a way just to use those same book pages, but take advantage of that partial page here and have that as your little journal space. So I'm gonna just take off a little bit of that. See, virtually no waste in this. Yeah, here's the waste right here. Not so bad. Not so bad at all. And I would normally like to let it dry. But there's 2 more that I can do. I can go back in here and keep using up these things. What if you wanted to do like a whole, you could look how many you could get out of a great big book page like this. This would be super if you were really mass making. And again, you would have virtually no waste. You would use up more bits and bobs, and just push yourself to use those things. What I tell myself is I don't need to be running all over the craft room to find things. I have little, these little things that are sitting all over all the time. These were cute. These were some of my little cheerful birds. Maybe I'll do this one. Shall I do one more? How am I doing time-wise here? Yeah, I think I have time to do one more. This was sitting in my, in the craft room. This was just like a little blob of watercolor, drew a few lines around it, put a beak on it, some flower petals for a wing. Of course, it's eyeless. Let's change that right now. Just with an ordinary pen. And it'll have some eyelashes. Every chick loves her mascara, right? There we go. And because we use, these eclectic little boxes for decorating, everyone is going to end up being different, and you're just going to have a lot to choose from. I think I'm gonna give this another torn edge. Just seems like she's looking into the abyss here. So this one just seems like she needs to be just a little bit smaller. And we'll give her some legs here. Whoops, I went right through. I went right through that paper with this gel pen. Probably should have used a felt tip or a marker, but that's okay. Aw, she looks cute. If you're interested in how to make these, I mean, they're so simple. It's kind of crazy, but I'll put a, I think I can find the link for how I did these. It's been a while. One of those whimsical things I keep going back to. You could just draw on here. Does she need anything else? No, I think she is just fine, but she helped us make use of that half page. Let me know if you're interested in small tuck-ins. I have some other ideas for ways to use different shapes and things like that. So there was a lot of people that asked for this and were, interested in how to do these small size tags or small size journal cards. And we can do more if you like, but anyway, have fun with these. They help you clean up your craft space and use old book pages and not have any waste in those pages, and have something really useful for your journals. See you soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.